Oblique Seville is turning up. 9.82 seconds at the Racers Grand Prix in the 100-meter dash to take down Noah Lyles, to get a personal best, to run the fastest time by a Jamaican athlete since Usain Bolt in 2016 at the Olympic Games. This was a really, really big performance for Oblique Seville, and I think a much needed performance for not only Seville, but also for Jamaica, which I'm going to talk about in a second. But today, I'm just going to dive into some quick highlights about Oblique Seville versus Noah Lyles in that 100-meter dash. Also going to talk about Julien Alfred in the 100, Jaydon Hibbert in the triple jump, and then a little bit on Shericka Jackson and what she's been doing over the 200-meter dash over the past 2 Diamond Leagues. Now, though I'm doing a deep dive on the Racers Grand Prix here, be sure to check out the Citius Mag podcast where me and Chris Chavez host This Week in Track and Field every single Monday, and there you can find all my opinions and all my thoughts around all the performances that went down over the past week in track and field. Now, first off, the men's 100-meter dash at the Racers Grand Prix. Of course, this is hyped up considering it was Seville, it was Lyles, Omanyala, Zarno Hughes. There were so many guys who were in this race, and this was arguably the most high-profile 100-meter dash race with some of the top players that we've seen in 2024. And for the most part, it delivered in terms of at least those top 2. Like I said, Oblique Seville, 9.82 seconds, a personal best, improving on his previous best of 9.86 seconds, which he ran back in 2022 in May, and then also last year in Budapest in the heats in the semifinals. So Oblique Seville really turning up. And so the big takeaway that I have from Oblique Seville is outside of the fast time, outside of, turning up in 2024, I think this is a massive confidence booster as we look towards, of course, Jamaican championships, but also the Olympic Games. We all know that Oblique Seville has come up short in 2022 and 2023 when talking about the 100-meter dash. 4th place both times. 2022, his first World Championships, he of course made the Olympic Games, but I mean, he was still young, he was still growing, and he was kind of elated to even make it to the final there. But last year, I think there was a little more pressure, and on top of that, he ran the exact same time as, let's see, Tobogo as well as Zarno Hughes, 9.88 seconds. But down to the thousands, Oblique Seville came up 4th, just missing the podium. This year, I think there's of course been conversations about, can the Jamaicans do it again? Can they get back on the podium? People have been saying that Oblique Seville is the next Usain Bolt, both training under Glenn Mills. So I think he really might not feel the pressure to say. I'm probably sure that he handles pressure very well. He's very, very relaxed. But I do think that he recognizes, listen, I have to turn up. I'm in the form of my life. I want to make sure that I get to Paris and I actually get on the podium. So that confidence that he got and taking away from this race, I think that's the biggest thing from this 9.82. Of course, beating Noah Lyles, they've only raced once in their entire careers. At least someone can fact check me on that. But the only time they've raced was actually in the Budapest World Championship final last year. So Noah Lyles, of course, got that win. Oblique Seville, he got this win here. They're 1-1 on their head-to-heads. Now, as we go into the Olympic Games, this is going to be a very, very big race and a very, very big situation for Oblique Seville. Another big point that I'm taking away from this is how Seville is kind of carrying the mantle for Jamaican sprinting on the men's side at this moment right now. We haven't been seeing some of the other guys really step things up. Akeem Blake, he's unfortunately been kind of up and down, either false starting or, not doing well in his races. Raheem Ford and Ron Watson, both of them made the World Championship team last year. Unfortunately, haven't been really performing to the standards that we might expect them to, considering they made the team last year. And of course, Raheem Ford, he was actually able to make the World Championship finals. Also, there's pretty much no one in the 200. Of course, there's Andrew Hudson, made the final last year. There was an accident, so he likely wouldn't have actually made it, but he did make the final, but he's not in that kind of form that you would potentially put him in the conversation for a medal. In the 400, Antonio Watson, of course, he's a gold medalist, but we did see him he hasn't been performing to his, complete standards in 2024 right now. He pulled out of the Racers Grand Prix due to a little bit of injury. So I don't know. Oblique Seville seems to be the one guy right now who's really, really capable of getting on the podium for Jamaica when talking about the sprints. Yes, hurdles is another conversation, but talking about the 1, 2, and 4, Oblique Seville is that guy. And I think he really has the potential to get on the podium for the first time this year. Based on this race, I actually would put him in the conversation. I would put him on my podium. Now, there's some other guys that I would probably put him slightly ahead. I'll say it right now. I think Noah Lyles is an edge favorite. Let's see if Tobogo probably edge for silver. And then I would say Oblique Seville edge for the bronze medal. Now, again, this is just based on right now, based on what we've seen throughout the season. Yes, let's see Tobogo. He lost a race in LA. His mother passed away, rest in peace. So he had to, deal with a couple things. I think he's going to be able to pick things back up. And then Noah Lyles, who I'll talk about in a second. I still think he's, again, slight favorite. You also have guys like Christian Coleman, Fred Curley, there's Omanyala. I mean, there's a lot of guys who are still in the mix. Season is going to progress, but I think Oblique Seville is in a very good position to get on the podium. Now, when we do look forward to his times, 9.82 seconds, he had a very, very strong start. I mean, explosive start relative to the entire rest of the field. He, of course, did finish strong as well. We saw him look over to the side, looking at Noah Lyles. I don't think this would have been a 9.7. Like, let's kind of calm down with the projections on what he actually would have run if he fully ran through the line. He would have run like 9.81 seconds. His momentum didn't fully shut down. We're not talking about Usain Bolt in Beijing 2008, right? But I do think he has the capability of getting to that 9.7. Now, whether or not that actually happens is a different story. We still have to see some consistency throughout the season. Again, he's run 9.86 before. In Budapest, he ran that, but didn't execute, when getting into the final and potentially get on the podium. But if he's able to not only maintain this momentum, but then potentially get a little faster progressively through the year, then we could see him run 9.77, 9.76. I think that's within his wheelhouse. Talking about this year, it's a lot of time. We're still just in the first weekend of June. He's going to go to Jamaican Championships, just at the end of this month. Probably he looks on a glide path to make the team and probably run a little bit faster. Then I think by the time we get to Paris, I think that Seville is capable of running 9.7. Now, let's talk about Noah Lyles. Noah Lyles came up for second place here, running 9.85 seconds. He had a terrible start, right? He got left in the blocks. He was sleeping and he had to catch up, using his, excellent second half of the 100-meter dash that he always has, right? Of course, if this was a 200-meter race, he would have dominated. He'll be running in New York this coming weekend. But Noah Lyles, this to me actually was a really, really great race. 9.85 seconds is his second fastest time of his entire career. He equals his second fastest time. He's run 9.85 seconds before. His personal best, of course, is 9.83 from the Budapest World Championships last year, but then he's coming off the indoor season where he was consistently running 6.4 in the 60-meter dash all throughout. Now, looking at this race, considering the start that he had, you of course would say, what happened indoors? Why aren't you getting this good start? Of course, day to day, I think Noah Lyles might have explained it a little bit in a tweet online saying that, he just got caught sleeping or he has things to work on. Not too worried about it. Now, I might get criticized for this, but I do think that he's kind of backing up what he's been talking about in the sense that his training has been excellent, right? He's been probably having some of the best practices of his career. I don't know if he's going to get the American record yet. I don't know if he's going to be running 9.69 or 9.71. He has a potential to, right? Lance, Noah, they know what they're doing, in practice. Obviously, I'm not in practice, but based on what I saw here, I do think that Noah Lyles could get to 9.7 very, very soon. If not, maybe by USA's. If he's fully healthy, if he's ready, I think he could run 9.7 by USA's. Now, does that mean that he's going to run the American record? Like I said, I don't think so. But I would put him on the edge on favorite for the gold medal at the Paris Olympic Games this year. And when I say edge on, I mean truly edge on favorite. I honestly think the 100-meter dash is very, very wide open, but Noah Lyles, considering what he did last year, considering what he did indoors, and considering what he's done so far this season, even this specific race, I think that he's still the edge on favorite. Now, like I said with Oblique Seville, things can change as the season progresses. He can get to USA's and then Christian Coleman could demolish the field running 9.7. Then that is going to completely change things, right? We could see, let's see Bogo drop a 9.7 himself, and that could change things, right? So the season is still going to change. The times are still going to progress. So keep a lookout. But I do think that Noah Lyles, based on this 9.85 run, is in a very, very, very good position to, of course, not only get on the podium, but then also get the gold medal at the Olympic Games in the 100-meter dash. So we'll see how things progress, but definitely keep a lookout for both of them. Again, Oblique Seville, the number one takeaway for me is that his confidence coming out of this race is huge. He is dead set on getting on the podium at the Olympic Games, and I think he's in a very, very good position to do so. So that's the men's 100-meter dash. I'm going to dip over to the women's 100, where the story here was Julien Alfred. 10.78 seconds for a personal best in the 100-meter dash. Her previous best was 10.81 seconds, which she ran, I think, back in 2022. So it was about 2 years old at this point. Of course, last year she did have some windy performances in the 100. She finished 5th place at the World Championships in Budapest in the 100. But for her to really be stepping things up, this is, of course, her first full year as a professional. She's coming off the World Indoor Gold Medal in the 60-meter dash. And what's really huge here was that she was sleeping at the start. Literally, she didn't even react to the gun as fast as you might think. She was left in the blocks, and then the way that she moved between 30 to 60 meters was insane. I mean, Julien Alfred is a massive problem. I tweeted that I still think that Sha'Carri Richardson is the favorite for the gold medal, but Julien Alfred, in my opinion, could sneak up and win the gold medal, considering the progress that she's been making, considering what she's been able to do across 100, 200, 400 when talking about the 4x4. So I really like where Julien Alfred is. And listen, this is just a start. In my opinion, this is just a start. Imagine she actually got a good start. Imagine she got a good reaction. Listen, that could have been a 10.75, 10.76 probably, right? That was a really, really good run from Julien Alfred. Excited to see where she's, and she doesn't have to worry about trials. St. Lucia is not gonna have trials. She has her ticket for the Olympic Games. So keep a lookout for her and what she's gonna be able to do. I do also want to talk about Jaydon Hibbert at the Racers Grand Prix. He lit up the show. Probably my favorite performance from the Racers Grand Prix. You know I love the triple jump, but 17.75 meters. And he progressively got better each round, capping it off with that 17.75 in round 4. That is his second farthest jump of his entire career. His personal best is 17.87 meters, which he did jump last year. He, of course, had a little, I think, cramp or hamstring issue at the Budapest World Championships, so took some precaution and just chose not to jump at the finals. But for him to get this performance here clearly shows that he is in excellent form, still doing a 12-step run-up. So he's not even reaching his full potential at this moment right now, and he has a long way to go. A couple days ago, I said that Hugo Breezango was the favorite, considering, you know, he won the Oslo Diamond League. Last year, he got the gold medal at the World Championships. He won World Indoors. Now, when talking about head-to-heads, Zango and Hibbert actually only competed twice in their careers. Monaco Diamond League last year, where Zango was able to get the win. And then, of course, the Budapest World Championships, where Zango also got the gold medal, but Hibbert pulled out. So take that as you will. I think it's still, you know, 2-0 in terms of the competition. But Hibbert with this performance, again, for me, slightly edges above into the favorite position. And you can go ahead and criticize me, but I'm going to put out my predictions. I'm going to say, you know, things can still change as the season progresses, but I'm going to say that Hibbert does slightly edge ahead in the triple jump conversation for the gold medal. He's, of course, much younger. He has that potential, and I think that he's going to be able to really get things together when we get to the Paris Olympic Games. I don't know if he's going to be extending his run-up. I know we talk about the 12-step run-up being like, you know, he really isn't even reaching his potential. Imagine what's going to happen when he does a full run-up. I mean, true, but we still have to actually see it in execution. I think he clearly has that 18-meter potential. I think in the next couple weeks, he could really put that down. I don't know if he'll do it at Jamaican Championships. He might just go there to qualify to do what he needs to do. But I do think that Hibbert is going to be a problem. So excited to see what he's going to be able to do. Now, last thing I did want to talk about was Shericka Jackson in the 200-meter dash. So we saw her compete at the Oslo Diamond League as well as the Stockholm Diamond League just the past couple days. In Oslo, so first off, she was coming off the Diamond League in Rabat in Marrakesh, you know, in Morocco, and she did get the win there, but she ran 22.8, and I think people were kind of a little surprised or a little taken back, considering it wasn't quote-unquote as fast as we might expect for Shericka Jackson, someone who, you know, has the potential to challenge the world record in the 200, but came to Oslo. This was the really, really big surprise where she ran 22.9 seconds and finished 5th place. So that raised alarm bells for a lot of people. And honestly, even myself, right? I was definitely like, whoa. I mean, listen, I know she's getting back into things, but I didn't expect, you know, at least even ignoring 22.9 to finish 5th place. I think that's, you know, that was more indicating to me about, okay, what's up? And she said in the Stockholm Diamond League press conference that she was really kind of disappointed with the fact that she lost that race. She finished so far back, even ignoring the time, just the fact that, you know, the competitor in her wants to be able to win. So she went to Stockholm and she stepped things back up. And I think this was an excellent race for Shericka Jackson. 22.69 seconds and into a negative 2.0 headwind. So at that point, I mean, we're looking at, and I think it was really swirling. So obviously it's not like 100% head on. So, but I would say it was probably like a 22.5 or something like that if we had like no wind. Of course, if there was a tailwind, it'd be a little bit better. But overall, I think this is an excellent performance and shows that Shericka Jackson is making some progress and becoming more of quote-unquote herself. Now, that doesn't mean that she's in form to run 21.4 or something like that. That doesn't mean she's on a glide path to win the gold medal at the Olympic Games. But what I think this confirms, at least personally for me, is that she is 100% going to make the Jamaican team in both the 100 and the 200, and then she's going to have some time to progress as we lead into Paris. I actually still think that Shericka Jackson is the gold medal favorite in the 200 at least. Of course, 100, I'm looking at Sha'Carri right now, but in the 200, I think she's still the gold medal favorite. I think that she just has so much time to be able to get ready, and considering the competition in Jamaica, she's not really going to have that many problems when talking about the 200 team. You're talking about Lene Taylor-Thomas, Brianna Liston. I think Kavona Davis might have got injured, or in the episode, someone can cross-check me on that. But I think Shericka Jackson just has a very strong shot in the 100 and the 200 at Jamaican trials. Focus is going to be Paris. So great performance for her. Excited to see, you know, where she runs next. I don't know if she has one more race prior to the Jamaican Championships at the end of this month, but regardless, she is very much getting into form and getting into that, you know, realm of the Shericka Jackson that we know. Yes, it's not the 21-4s. We're still super far away from that, but it's just good to see her back on the track and, you know, kind of talking through how she was disappointed in Oslo. She just wants to get a season's best and kind of things coming into fruition for her through the season, racing into form. And I think the big thing is that she's healthy, right? She's racing, she's out here, she's competing. So that clearly shows she's healthy and just getting back into that form. So that was the men's 100 meter dash at the Racers Grand Prix, the women's 100 with Julien Alfred, of course, Jaydon Hibbert in that triple jump, and then a little bit about Shericka Jackson in the 200s as we approach Jamaican Championships. So let me know what you think about, of course, all these competitions, most notably that men's 100 meter dash. What are the implications coming out of that race in terms of Oblique Seville, Noah Lyles, and then even some of the other guys, right? Zarnell Hughes, he unfortunately got a little bit injured, so not sure of his status. Julien Alfred, is she a gold medal threat in the 100 meter dash? Again, I still think at this moment, Sha'Carri Richardson is the favorite, but Julien Alfred is a very strong threat to get the gold medal. And then, of course, Jaydon Hibbert. I mean, I think most people will probably agree he's probably the gold medalist, but we're going to see. I think it's a lot more competitive than y'all might think, but he's an edge-on favorite for the gold. And then Shericka Jackson. Is she going to get back to that 21.4, you know, second form in the 200? I don't know, but let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, y'all.